everyone, and welcome to this POV review by AutoTopNL. My name is Max, and well, look at this. We have a McLaren 570 GT today, and one by PP Performance, no less. So, should be a fun day. It's a beautiful day, lovely weather, lovely road, and it's an insane car. So let's do a lap around the car. We have wheels and more wheels in sort of a dark gray. We have the standard brakes, so just steel discs. You can get ceramic brakes optional on the GT. They are standard on the 570S. But just look at those insane air ducts, and this is so cool. It directs the air coming from there into here, into that cooler up here as well. This line down here going in here. It's such a cool car. I think it looks really great. And you know how, although you can really see that McLaren line, it's so original. It's like nothing else, and I think that's really cool. So let's take a look at the back, which is even more cool if possible, because you have all that exposed mechanical stuff, the exhaust, I think that's the gearbox in there. Man, this is so cool. So we have the GT, as I said, so that means that this is sort of a fastback rear end. It's the same as the 570S from here to the front, so this is new, this whole piece, and we can open it with this on the remote, and it's all carbon fiber frame for lightness, of course, and all this is leather. You can also choose to have this in Alcantara, but everything is leather and Alcantara inside. And these dihedral doors, of course, very cool. I mean, that's just awesome. I know it's a bit theatrical, but super cool. Okay, so let's take it for a drive. And it's actually not that hard to get into, which is nice. Let me just start it up with the door open. I mean, you know, this is by PP Performance, so it's not really standard. We have a software tune and an FI gatless downpipe, which means it's super loud. I mean, but in here it's quite nice. It's not that intrusive. Okay, so let's select D for drive, active for the handling and the powertrain. So that means we can switch between normal, sport and track. Normal, sport and track for both. This is for the traction control, and this is for the manual setting of the gearbox. And we have launch control, but since this is the PP Performance version and it has 720 horsepower and 850 Newton meters, the launch control is really, it's too powerful for launch control. Yeah, so let's select normal for the handling, because it's quite a bumpy road. And let's go for track on the powertrain. We're in first gear, let's select manual. And there we go. from the first few meters you drive this car, you feel that this is something special. This is the first time we drove a McLaren, and I have never experienced anything like it. It's totally different from every competitor we've driven. I mean, if you look at the Turbo S, Porsche 911 Turbo S, the Audi R8 V10 Plus, the Lamborghini Huracan, I mean, it's so responsive, and you really feel every little bump through the steering wheel, through the seat. I mean, I could tell you what kind of bug I just drove over. And then there's that visceral driving experience with that V8 behind you. 3.8 liter V8 bi-turbo. Traction control light, I don't know if you can see it, it's in the top right corner of the screen there, but it just lights up all through 4th gear and even sometimes in 5th gear, and it's just dry. So this is truly, oh man, it's really violent. McLaren released this 570 GT to be sort of more a Grand Tour, obviously GT, to the 570S, which is more track focused, and really sort of a race car for the road. And this should be more comfortable, so they have softened the suspension. The steering rack is a bit slower, so it's less direct, but it's still, I mean, this is still really great. And you have more leather, it's more luxurious in here. You have this panoramic roof, which means the cockpit feels quite spacious, although it is pretty small. But I can imagine if you're in a 570S with black Alcantara everywhere, not that roof, I think it could feel quite cramped. But this suspension, I mean, we know that McLaren is incredibly good at setting up a car, especially the suspension. And this car does not have that active hydraulic, electronically controlled suspension that the 650S and the LT and the P1 have, because that would be too expensive, because it's a really expensive system. But still, I mean, this in comfort mode or in normal mode, it's super sharp, but it just filters out all those bumps. Oh man, this is so quick. I mean, McLaren already has one of the best. Now let's put ESC in dynamic. Releases that power better, because that traction control is constantly trying to rein in that V8. But it is tricky because, as I said, it's a visceral driving experience, and it's quite tricky because it's so on edge. So we have a 7-speed gearbox, which is really nice. I don't think it's as quick as a PDK or S-tronic gearbox, but it's really nice. And those pedals are really great as well, and they look fantastic. Oh man, you really need a track for this car. Even though this is a GT and it should be for daily use and stuff, I mean, this is it's just way too fast for any public road. So 0 to 100 kph should be able in 3.2 seconds in a 570S and 3.4 seconds in a 570 GT. But this has, like I said, 720 horsepower, 150 more. But I think, you know, the limits of traction are already met. So I don't think this will be that much quicker. PP Performance say it will do 2.84 seconds to 100, but I think that would be in really ideal circumstances. And it will do 337 kilometers an hour, I think, stock. So this will do 350, 360. Unfortunately, you know, even on the Autobahn, that's really difficult to achieve, but we are going to try how far we can get. So let's take it to the Autobahn. Let's see what this is like, because in essence, McLarens are all just track cars for the road, and you really feel that in everything, because it's super responsive, it's very communicative. And well, let's see. Let's put the handling mode in normal and the powertrain in track, with the gearbox in automatic. Okay, so here we go. From 150, full throttle. Yeah, that's really fast. Holy moly, that's fast. Okay, so here's a downside to that track-oriented setup of these McLaren cars. If you look at the steering wheel, I'm not moving it. You see how it's moving? It's really having trouble with these tracks in the road or irregularities. And because it's so responsive and really lets you feel everything of the road through the tires, through the steering wheel, through your seat, you get all of those irregularities of the road through your steering wheel, and the steering wheel just moves. So you have to be alert if you want to drive this car at high speeds. There we go. Oh my, this thing is seriously fast. And what PP Performance have done to get that 720 horsepower, as I said, it's not that much. It's just that software rewrite and a catalyst downpipe in the rear, which also gives it that really nice racy V8 sound, which, you know, people have said that the 570S and the 570 GT are not the best sounding cars. well, I think this is a really good setup, because in here it's not too loud, it's not droning, it's not too intrusive, but you still get it. And I think that's because the GT has a better sound deafening or isolation than the S has. So I think that's why this is a really nice setup. Okay, so let's put it in handling track mode, which firms everything up. And let's put it in manual. I have to say, these pedal shifters, oh, they are incredible. I think they are the best I've ever felt. And the steering wheel, well, it's perfect. It's not that thick, it's nice and thin, with that Alcantara carbon fiber, no buttons, those pedal shifters behind them of really cool carbon fiber. And another cool thing is that not all pedal shifters do this. When I pull this one moves like that. So if I want to shift down, I can also push this upshifter instead of pulling this one. So I don't know, it's pretty cool. Oh, this is fast. It's all over the place, but it's really fast. So because this has 720 horsepower and 850 newton meters just on those rear wheels, you know, there's another factor to take into consideration when you do runs like this, is that you have to be aware of your surroundings. The temperature of the tires, the temperature of the brakes, the temperature of the tarmac. Is it wet? Is it damp? How is the road going to develop? You know, is there a corner coming? You have to take all these things into consideration, because normally, you know, you do that in your head automatically, but now I thought it would be nice to tell you what you have to do. So at these speeds, I mean 200 kph, it's okay. It will track, it will grip. But holy moly, this thing pulls. Jesus. Ceramic brakes on the Autobahn with 720 horsepower and a top speed of, well, 350 or something. That's really a must. So with that 720 horsepower, it has just as much horsepower as the new 720S that just came out, but this is much lighter. I think it's about 1350 kilograms, this GT version. And it truly feels like a little hypercar in here. And this power is hypercar. I mean, the acceleration is insane. But it is really made for the track, this car. Oh, did you hear that? That suspension is really nice, actually. That softest setting copes really well with these bumps. Oh man, I love this thing. I love it, absolutely love it. It's quite challenging to drive this car quickly on the Autobahn. But the fact that this is such a hardcore sort of racer, It's really cool. This is intense. Woo! This is an absolute beast. It's so freaking fast. It's incredible, and the way it does it, it's just relentless. I mean, I got close to 300 kph, I think, and it felt like it could keep going for so long. The reserve of power is insane. You know, the standard stock 570 GT is a fast car already, but this just, you know, an extra 150 horsepower, that is a lot. And PP Performance just took this thing to hypercar level. Okay, so I'm going to end it there. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you at the next POV review. You can subscribe by clicking on the little icon on the bottom right corner, and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Just search for AutoTopNL and you will find us, and we will post some pics over there. So see you at the next one. Bye.